retweet the one in the middle. And then information regarding the POAP is up there as well. So don't forget to download that app if you're able to, and I'll give out the secret code during the space. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started here. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Onchain Gaming Live. I am your host, Erica, and each week I talk to the hottest games and projects within the Web3 and blockchain gaming ecosphere. So tonight my special guest is LifeForce Games, LFG, and we'll be talking about their gaming platform and everything that they have under their umbrella. So we'll save the last part of the show for any questions that the audience might have. You can also comment in the space if you are with us on Twitter. There's a little speech bubble down at the bottom, so go ahead and click that and type your questions. And then, I've got the POAP at the top. We'll give out the secret word later. Go ahead and give this space a retweet if you like. And then before we get started, just remember that none of this is financial advice, of course. Always do your own research. And LFG. So representing LifeForce Games today, we have Satsuma and we have Boomer. Hello, guys. How's it going?
Good. All good here. How are you?
I'm
Jam.
Good, thank you. Yeah, I'm excited. It's Thursday. It's even though like we never sleep and like the days all blur together, like it's nice to know that there's just like one more day before the weekend. So yeah, that's always exciting.
Hey, Sats, what are these weekends that she's referencing?
I don't know. I feel like I used to know what that was, but it's been a bit.
Do I get weekends off?
I don't know. My child's very excited about this weekend thing, but I'm a little fuzzy.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, thumbs down from LFG. That's hilarious. Yeah, I know. I honestly, like, I find myself working a lot on the weekends too, like a lot more than I probably should, but it's like, I don't know. I guess like you reach a certain age and I think that you just like just become like used to like working at, whatever side project you have or if it's your main job or whatever. So, yeah. But this weekend we have Halloween weekend coming up. Are you guys planning on dressing up or like going to any trick-or-treating or parties or anything like that?
Oh, absolutely. I will be disowned by my family if we don't go trick-or-treating. The only thing in question is how many neighborhoods we can hit in one night.
Yeah, 100%. What about you, Boomer?
Definitely trick-or-treating with the kiddos, and we bought king-size candy to give away this year. So, bear market blues for crypto, but the kids of the neighborhood are going to be stoked with king-size candy.
We're coming to your house.
Yeah, right? He's like the neighborhood hero. Word is going to get around quick, but no, that's awesome. I love that. Being a parent myself, it's always fun to take your kids trick-or-treating and everything like that. So, yeah. So anyway, yeah, let's go ahead and get into what we're here for, which is to talk about LifeForce Games. Before we do that, do you guys want to just go ahead and tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what your role is at LFG?
Yeah, sure. I can go first. So Boomer and I we're co-CEOs. I focus a bit more on the internal stuff, so development, operations, finance, IT, HR, all the really fun stuff.
I am lucky enough to not have to do any of that, and I get to focus on all the fun stuff on the external side, working with Danielle a lot, who does our marketing, who's running the LFG account right now, on biz dev, and a little bit on looking over game design, marketing, so a lot more fun. Get to be more public facing and chatting more with the players.
Yeah, I've actually, obviously like I do my research before you guys come on, and I saw that you've got a few YouTube videos, and then you guys have a whole entire podcast. And Boomer, you're pretty much like the head of that whole thing, right?
Yeah, so we have a couple things that we're doing. Like, we want to be really transparent as a studio. just gaming our whole lives. We see that most studios are very quiet. They'll throw out a very expensive teaser trailer video that looks nothing like the game, and then you hear nothing until the game goes live. We want to be the exact opposite. So we are very proactive in communication. We invite everyone in our Discord. Every Monday we have voting that's going live. Every Wednesday we do an AMA with the executive team, where literally anything they want to ask, they can do that. So we run that on a Twitter space, and then we have a podcast called Break the Game that goes out on Thursdays, and we also replay the Twitter space on the podcast as well. And then art reveals on Friday, which are a big hit. And that's where Sebastian, who's our chief art officer, prepares something for the community about what they've been working on the past week or so. And we launched that into Twitter and the Discord as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's actually kind of like one of the things I was going to ask you is like how transparent, how important is transparency to you? But you really actually hit the nail on the head, because I'm a part of, like a content creator, gamer Discord, and we always like, throw ideas around and, talk about stuff and whatever. And there's this game out, and they have so many followers, but just like you said, like they have a trailer out, but it's, their game is made in Unreal Engine 5, and so it's, I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's easier to like have a trailer that looks amazing, but then like the gameplay that they've released so far looks absolutely nothing like it, and they really haven't released anything. And so yeah, everybody definitely appreciates transparency, and so it's, it's great that you guys have so many different avenues to work with your community with, be it Discord, podcast, everything like that. So yeah, kudos to you guys. I definitely dig that.
Absolutely. So it's one of the things we're even showing like basic concept art and the sketches to get up to the final version that we've built out in 3D and modeled and rigged and all of that. So we're showing even sketches of things that didn't make it or won't make it into production, but how the team evolved the thought process and the design process to showcase some of the heroes or the different turrets or traps, auras, walls, the things that are in our first game, the tower defense game, which is called Spark Defense. And I mean, talking about transparency and where we want to include the players in, like we have voting every Monday, like I mentioned. We even let them name the game Spark Defense. Like that was put to a vote. What we're doing for our avatars, what is free versus what is premium, or how many of the different types of in-game items. Like the community is voting on all of these things, a few votes every single week, and we're getting feedback and polling the community every week to kind of stay in touch with what they really want. So we're not spending dev time or wasting resources on things that they don't even want to see in the game. And I think that has allowed us to really become ultra transparent in the way that we're building LFG.
Yeah, 100%. I completely agree with you. It's always nice to have, what do the players want? I mean, because, and, when all of the development has, done their job and everything like that, like it comes down to the players on the user end of everything. So what do they want? Yeah, like let them decide for sure. But we got a little bit ahead, so not that is a problem, but do one of you want to just give us more information about what is LifeForce Games? What are you building?
Yeah, I'll take this one, Sats. So LFG, one of the core things that we're building is what we're calling our game generator, and that's a no-code drag and drop tool that will allow anyone to build their own games and be able to monetize their own games and have control over that, but not having to be a full-time developer, not having to know how Maya and Blender work. We're working with whether it's smaller communities to larger companies that are trying to figure out the metaverse, or just one-off creators. We want everyone to be empowered to almost be like their own indie game developer. And if we just built the platform, I think we've come to the conclusion that people won't know exactly how to use it or what to build, and they'll be more intimidated. So we're building our own suite of games from LFG, showing what's possible in the game generator. And so that's where our first game, which is a tower defense game, like I mentioned, Spark Defense, that is in pre-alpha this week. That is one of the games you will be able to build your own type of unique tower defense game. We have a shooter game coming, which hasn't been named yet because honestly the community haven't been able to vote on it yet. But that'll come towards the end of the year, early next year. And then when the generator launches, which we're targeting in late April, early May, um, anyone will be able to come into the platform and be able to play games that are LFG games, or they'll be able to create and design their own games with that no-code drag and drop tooling that'll feel a lot like Legos when you're designing the levels.
That's amazing. Yeah, I love that. No code, drag and drop, like make it easy. So when I was doing my research and I was watching your YouTube videos, the first one that I started watching was with Sebastian. Like you said, he's the chief art officer, and so he was going into kind of like the style of the artwork, how you guys are, totally building everything from ground zero, and so he's, taken a lot of things into consideration with the artwork. It's not like it's built in Unity. It's not in Unreal 5, so that's why it's not like the hyper realistic. But that's really not what you guys were going for anyway, which I appreciate that. It's not like a super gritty, detailed art style. But he was also like thinking about, once you have like your metaverse and games and everybody's able to build, he was thinking like, zooming out, like looking at the whole picture of how would the art translate into like comic book, movie, even like pixel art, which I thought was really cool. So it was really nice to hear the artist and all of the things to take in consideration when you're building something from the ground up. If you guys are interested in this game, I would really urge you to go onto YouTube or check out their podcast because they do give a lot of really good information and insights about, not only like the user end side of things, but like everything that it takes to build a game. And so, yeah, I really appreciate that. But the drag and drop. So when he was like talking about that, and when you were just talking about that, I kind of get like a little bit of like Minecraft, Sandbox, The Sims, which I absolutely love The Sims. Do you think that's kind of like a good visual and a good comparison to sort of like what that will be like for your users and the players of the game?
I can take that one. Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that we certainly are supporting and encouraging user generated content, but no, in the sense that what we're developing is much more robust. Using Sandbox as an example, the gameplay there is really limited to fairly simplistic games. You can't do anything a bit more involved. So our game generator is going to let people build something a lot more robust. And then in contrast to Minecraft, we have a very different art style. We don't have that voxel-based environment.
Yeah, definitely. So it's exciting to hear that people will be able to really create like a game, a game that people will be able to play. So I'm excited for that to come along and come down the pipeline. As far as the world, so from what I can tell, there's you have a metaverse and there's different biomes, and that's the picture that we actually put in the POAP. I thought that was really cool. Can you speak about the world a little bit and what that looks like?
Yeah, so right now we're focused a lot on the game generator and the different games that players will be able to create. We want to have multiple genres available at launch. And just to go back really quick on your previous point, these are going to be more robust games than what's available anywhere else in currently in Web 3. As you'll be able to set up like, hey, I want to create a team deathmatch and I want it to be 3v3 or 8v8, and I want power-ups, and I want to have NPCs that are, or other enemies that are coming surrounding, or I want it to be all sorts of things that you'll be able to create and even integrate with other NFT projects, as we expand out. So it's not just, hey, let's build a maze. This is like real in-depth building, but you won't have to know how to code doing it. Everything will be done via drop-down, and then from the art standpoint, it'll be, hey, I'm looking for some type of building or a statue or something. You'll scroll the library of art. You'll be able to select it. You'll be able to drop it, rotate it, and place it to create your own levels. And then we'll, of course, over time have it where you can stitch the levels together to make more and more robust games. So I just wanted to make sure we were clear on that point, because it is very, very advanced for what we're thinking in terms of UGC, and allow people to have really, really fine control over what they're building. In terms of the biomes and the metaverse component, so this is really like a phase 2 of our project. The first phase is getting the game generator out, getting the multiple genres that you'll be able to create, if it's team deathmatch or capture the flag or king of the hill, attack defend. Like, we're going to have all sorts of different game modes you'll be able to build. The metaverse will then spawn up kind of in phase 2 of the project, and it's not going to be this like vast open area that is 99% empty like Decentraland. We're going to spin up a smaller instance. We're kind of viewing it as our hub. And as users growth comes, as more games are being ported in and created, the level, the virtual world will grow in size, and more of the LFG lore will unlock, kind of pulling in different biomes. So as the world expands, different biomes are being discovered, and LFG is going to have some really cool things to keep people entertained between the different biomes and moving between the different worlds. But in the very beginning, we're going to launch the game generator with the multiple versions of creating, and then phase 2 will be the virtual world that'll start connecting. It'll act like the hub, connecting all the different user generated games as well as LFG games. And then as users continue to grow and games continue to grow, we'll expand the world out.
Amazing, thank you. I love the way that you described it. That makes total sense to me, and it sounds really ambitious. But I mean, what you have built so far, and we can talk about this too. So what you've built so far, people can actually play. Like, your Spark Defense is in pre-alpha right now, so everybody can actually go and reserve their gamer tag, which we'll talk about that in a little bit. But they can go get their gamer tag, and they can actually play in the game right now, which is really cool. So congratulations, because that's a really big deal, you guys. Like, kudos to you. Congratulations. I'm sure that that your community is super, super excited, and I've been on your Twitter page, so I can see like people playing and like submitting their scores and everything like that. So that's amazing. How has it been going, since the release? What's some of the feedback that you've been getting from your community and the people who are playing?
Yeah, so the pre-alpha is our first test. The game itself is going to be multiplayer, but we wanted to get the game in everyone's hands to show that we're real builders and that we're actually producing something in the space, not the FOMO and mints and things that we've seen typically with Web3 projects. And by allowing people to come in, like it only has 2 heroes. It's playing on just a limited number of maps. But we wanted to get it out in people's hands, one, to test. So there's a lot of internal testing that the team is doing while people are playing. But 2, also just to show that like we're a real studio. And while it is ambitious in what we're doing, we've been really working on this for about 8 or 9 months, and we're already at a playable pre-alpha with multiplayer and things coming, in quick short order, along with a whole second game that we'll have out by the end of the year or early next year, which is that shooter game. But feedback has been really great. We have found some bugs, which is awesome. We are not like ashamed that a bug has occurred. We actually are excited to see those things. I mean, this is part of testing. We've gotten some good feedback about things being a little too hard, some stuff being a little too easy. So it's good things that we can put in motion. The dev team is actively reading some of the feedback. We have a ticketing system that people can tell us good or bad. We have thick skin, so we don't mind the bad. And it goes right to the dev teams, and so they're getting the direct feedback, and things are already getting iterated on while it's even still live. So pretty neat there to see instantaneous feedback from people after we've been internally testing things for quite some time.
Yeah, absolutely. That's that's one thing that's really unique about Web3 gaming is that people can in your Discord, they can submit a ticket and they can chat with the devs. The devs can read everything, and it's really like you were saying earlier, like it's a really transparent system. And that's what I really love about like the Web3 gaming ecosystem is how everybody is really involved and how involved the community is. So, and yeah, absolutely bugs happen. My day job, I work at a software company, and sometimes when we're about to release a new version, I'm like, do I have to go to work today? Can I crawl back into bed? Because, sometimes like shit just hits the fan and, that's how it goes. But, you can't catch everything when you're in beta or alpha testing, but it's a good time to catch the bugs that you can with that user feedback. One of the questions that I wanted to ask you guys, and backtracking just a little bit, I'm sorry, but so LifeForce Games, it's founded by the two of you, like you said, you're co-founders, and the team actually, you guys have a really great background. So the team consists of blockchain gaming veterans, including senior team members from EA, Daybreak, Amazon, Sony PlayStation, Sony Online Entertainment. So one of the things that I wanted to know is, how did each of you get into Web3 and blockchain games, and then what was your inspiration to make LFG?
Oh boy, that's a long story. I'll try to give you.
I'm going to let you tell this one because I'm going to be way too verbose on it.
Yeah, you will. No offense. So I'll try to give you the short version. So my original background is in finance, and then I pivoted and I worked as a physician for many years. But I stayed very active in finance and real estate, and inevitably, I got involved with crypto. Boomer is actually the one that introduced me to Bitcoin. Although my husband does remind me periodically that he had actually mentioned Bitcoin and CryptoKitties back in like 2012, and I said it was dumb, which I now regret. But anyway, Boomer got me into Bitcoin. Then I got him into ETH. He got into Top Shots, which, as everyone knows, is the gateway drug of Web3. And then from Top Shots, we found our way to Sandbox. We both had some background in real estate and finance, so we started thinking, what do you do with land? You develop land, of course. So I was talking to him about the idea of, well, why don't we just, we'll get some land, we'll develop it for ourselves, we'll see where it goes. And then lo and behold, it just kind of evolved into a company. It turned into Land Vault. I eventually left my day job, he left his day job, and we became full-time degens. And then over the course of less than a year, Land Vault went from nothing to, I think it was 126 developers when we exited. It merged with another company called Admix in June. And then along the way, we'd spent so many hours building in other virtual worlds like Sandbox, Decentraland, NFT Island. And had spent so much time saying, if we were making a game, if we were making a virtual world, this is how we do it. That it eventually became inevitable that we would have to launch our own studio. And that's when we decided to do a raise for LFG.
That's amazing. So it really was the idea of, we can do it better, right? We can build something that, is going to be fun, and, I think that's great. That's how a lot of really great ideas come along, is you're playing something, but you're like, we could do this better. So yeah, that's fantastic. Boomer, is there anything that you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, so we were Sandbox's largest developer, and we built for their Alpha 3, and we built in a bunch of other places. And we were fortunate enough to work with dozens and dozens and dozens of NFT communities. And I was kind of the first conversation that those communities would have with Land Vault. And it always, these questions kept coming up of like, well, what can we do? How can we be more involved? How can we control whether it's achievements or skill systems or, can we shoot at each other? Can we swim? Like basic things like that. And there's a lot of limitations, obviously. Sandbox is a massive company and they're going to continue to evolve their tooling, but having to hire a third party while you've already purchased something is inherently kind of frustrating that we saw with those people and those communities coming in. But it was everything else that they were asking for. And we were saying, look, you can't do those things. We think you should. We'd love for you to do those things. We'd love to build those things for you, but we just can't with the limitations that are in place. And so when the kind of the idea of LFG really clicked home was around creators and for creators. We saw so many people that wanted to learn how to build, wanted to do those things, or they wanted things for their community to, whether it's to remain relevant or to provide utility or whatever it was. And when LFG kind of the idea of like, we should build this to where everyone can develop and they don't have to purchase anything. And it isn't a cash grab selling a bunch of land and having, all of these other hoops you have to jump through. And then when you get there, there's no one there. Like, we can do this better if we put creators up first. But we knew that if we just built the platform and said, look, you can go build games, there would still be hesitation. There would still be people that would go, I don't know if that's for me, or I don't know if I want to try. And so we knew that we had to build games first, which is exciting for us to be able to, have our spin on a tower defense game. I think it surprised everyone when they realized that they could actually use WSD and run around as the hero and actually attack as the hero while placing towers and traps and auras. And it wasn't just a laner where it was almost mindlessly, playing like a free-to-play game on your phone. Like, it is very active. It is going to challenge you. Our games are easy to play but hard to master. We've said it all along. And so that part, I think, was really cool when everyone in the community was like, wait, I can move my hero and I can attack as that? But we had to build those games in order to show what's possible. So tower defense is here. The shooter games are coming. We're going to then release the software so everyone can start building. And we're making it in a way that is going to be economical. There'll be like a P2P version, so you won't have to pay server costs like you do with Minecraft when you spin up one of those. There will be versions that you could pay for servers and run your own with advanced monetization strategies and things like that. But just to keep it high level here, like, we knew that we could build a platform. We knew that we could build something that creators would love, that players would love playing a part of those creations. I actually think it's going to change esports as we roll out more and more different genres. But we had to build something to show them what's possible first. And that's where we're at right now.
That's amazing. I love it. Yeah, I think that you guys definitely had the right approach for developing a couple games first, just so people can see what's possible. And then, as they play, then they'll get their own ideas and they'll want to build something too. So the tower defense game that you guys put out, like, it, for me, it's hard too, because I was like, oh my gosh, the first time I played it, I completely bombed. I'm not gonna lie. And then I played it a few more times, and I started to get the hang of it. And it wasn't easy, but it was a little bit easier. And progressively, I started getting better and started staying in for longer. Not as long as some of the people that are posting on your Twitter have stayed in. I was like, I saw somebody like 8 minutes, and I was like, whoa, they're pro level. But
to make you feel better, even though I'm part of like the team that's designing some of it, I forgot about leveling the actual like turret, and so I'm going, holy crap, guys, this game is hard, and internally everyone's making fun of me, and so but it is hard, but just a little quick tip, like, you can level the turrets. I don't know if you knew that, so heads up. You might want to try to do it. It's the icon on the far left. We didn't run a tutorial for this one. We will probably build some sort of tutorial in the actual like next full milestone or release. But we did put in the chat kind of what our controls look like and kind of a little bit about the objective. But part of that was one, we wanted to get to market quickest and allow people to explore, but two, like I don't know about you or anyone listening, but I like to explore things in games, and so I'd rather learn by trial and kind of poke around, and even that means failing 50 times until I kind of understand more, versus like having someone say, click here, okay, that's what that means, click here, and just being handheld. Some people love the hand holding, but I'm definitely kind of an explorer, so it saved time and it got into everyone's hands quickest without a tutorial. But when we start to push for a much bigger reach and a more polished game, we'll definitely have a tutorial to help as well.
Yeah, definitely. No, I appreciate that. There on your Discord, there was just a quick little thing about here's how you move, here's how you place things, and good luck, you're on your own. I appreciate that too, though. It's fun to learn on your own, and I think it makes you a better player in the long run too. So that's always good. Satsuma, how are you at the game? Who's better, you or Boomer? Have you guys had a competition?
Boomer, we have not gone head to head. I would definitely say that Boomer is better at it than I am. Now that he knows to level up his towers, that made the difference.
Yeah, definitely. So within your community, are you planning any sort of like a tournament? I know you said, eventually this will probably be something that esports people and competitive game players will get into. But right now, with your tower defense game, is there any plan for a tournament or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. We're looking to roll that out towards the end of this year. We're looking at a few changes internally to make it a little bit more fun for a tournament setting. And we've been talking to assorted partners who would like to go head to head and kill each other and prove which community is better. So definitely look for tournaments towards the end of the year.
Awesome. I love that. Yeah.
That is alpha, by the way. I don't think anyone in the community knows that, and I was purposely quiet to see what she would say, because between the two of us, I'm the one that always gets in trouble for saying alpha. So that is 100% brand new. No one else has heard that but Danielle, and obviously the team.
Oops.
Let's go. There's always one. There's always one in the group that will say the alpha. But luckily, like, you're okay with it because, like, I work for another project, and one of the guys is like super tight-lipped. The other one is like whatever, like medium ground, and the other one he'll just like say everything, and the other one, the one that's always so tight-lipped, he's always like, no, you can't.
Yep, that's me.
That's how I would probably be too. I mean, I'm a good secret keeper, but like when I get really excited about things, I just like want to tell everybody. So yeah, I get it.
The joke has always been that I knew all the alpha because we're building all these things and we have communities, and Sats would always get mad at me because I'm like, well, we could do it. And she's like, no, you're not allowed to say it. I was like, oh, okay. So one of the hard requirements that LFG has is that we're just super transparent and open. So there's no real like secret keeping an alpha. Like, we're happy to talk about anything and everything, unless of course there's like an NDA that we can't discuss on a partnership. But yeah, it's a lot more freeing and fun since we're developing our own and being able to create these cool environments in different games. Like, that's why I get excited for the AMAs every Wednesday, because we get to talk to people and get to hear their feedback, but also we can share all the cool stuff that we're thinking. And that's what a lot of the voting is too. Like, we have questions that we want the community to answer. Like, I wonder if they'd like this, or maybe should we build that? And most studios like internally talk about it. They'll whiteboard it. They'll do some market research, and then they'll just build. And we're just coming out and saying, hey, do you want us to build this? Or which do you like better? Or rank this? Or how passionate are you about this on a 1 to 5 scale? And it's so much more fun building that way.
Yeah, we have to be transparent. I can't hold Boomer back. He's too excited. So I just gave up.
Hey, you find what works.
It only took a year and a half, but I weared her down.
He did. I gave up eventually.
No, it's good though because it allows your community to remain active and be a part of everything. So no, that's great. I love it. Transparency, always appreciated. I've never heard one person say like, oh, they're too transparent, right? Yeah, if I did, I'd be like, whoa, what project are you involved with, and why are you hiding things? But yeah. So as far as, let's see, so some of the other things that I read while I was doing a little bit of research and doing some diving into your projects, as far as the NFTs, it says weapons, cosmetics, and resources are going to be interoperable across the LFG metaverse. I know that this is kind of like a phase two, but can you talk about that a little bit, and the importance of interoperability, and do you have any kind of like a vision of how that will look like with different games and different biomes?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll highlight, I think, some of the stuff that'll come sooner, that we have more inked out, that we're already kind of building in development, because those are the things we're the most sure on. So the first thing I think that we'll cover would be avatars. We're not doing like a 10K generative mint or anything, and there's nothing wrong with projects that do that. I'm not knocking it, but from a gaming standpoint, like we're hoping to bring 1 million people to the game. That's ambitious, I know, but we really want Web 2 to be kind of red pilled into Web 3, and we think gaming is going to do it. It's not DeFi. I think it's gaming. So with that, you can't have 10,000 avatars and that's it. It's very closed. And so one of the things we're doing is from our avatar system, you'll be able to, we're going to have 10 different categories. So think of like head, eyes, mouth, chest, legs, feet, hands, gloves, whatever you want to call it. And those would be the 10 different categories. And then inside of each one of those categories, there's going to be dozens and dozens and dozens of traits. One of the first things that the community actually voted on was what percentage of those traits that you're making up the avatar are free versus paid, or more premium. So you'd have different cosmetics and things, and they voted 50-50. So half of our cosmetics, or excuse me, half of our traits will be free. Half of those will be premium, and with different rarity ranks and things like that, that you'll be able to pick and choose what you want to have your avatar look like. And the really cool and important thing to know about the avatars is that, let's say that Sats and myself and you are all building our own individual games, kind of on our own little ecosystems. The avatars will be the bridge between all of those. So I could be playing my game, or excuse me, Sats's game, and let's say that I earn or buy or purchase a purple hat. I will be able to then put that hat on and then go play your game, wearing that same purple hat. Like everything that you are going to put, any trait on your avatar, is interoperable. The things in our battle pass from an LFG perspective will be interoperable across the ecosystem. We will have, not for free users, but for paid creators, there will be ways that you will be able to run your own achievement system or your own battle pass or sell your own items. And those things will then be interoperable with everyone else's games. So you're able to take these things throughout and to level those up or to play with those. And that can go through with maybe different weapons. It can be other items. The generator, and we won't have it at launch, but one of the things we're aiming for is it will be able to read the wallet of that's connected, and some of our partner projects that will have different perks that creators could or could not implement. So an example, the Goats was our first partner. We did a really cool activation. We built out and took a ton of their IP and built out this like really cool 140, I think, assets in that asset pack. That'll also be free for everyone to use and build. The goat statue. If you want a statue in a game, you can go use that. It's super neat. But you'll be able to say like, oh, if you are a goat holder, you get this, different mechanic in my game. An example would be like, if you're a goat holder, you can run 30% faster, or you can reload 20% faster. Some of those could be pay to win. So it's up to the creator. We don't care what people create. It also could say, like, I really don't like the goats, and so you run 30% slower. Like, good luck, goats, in my game. But we want to incorporate blockchain technology in that way, to also incorporate partners and bring that in from the creation. So I think those are just two ways. There's, I think, more, but those are a couple ways that we're talking about. Yeah, Howie's down here laughing. Like, I'm going to make it so if your name's Howie, you run 30% slower in my game. Just kidding. Love you, Howie. Howie's a part of our team, so I'm allowed to mess with him too.
Don't worry, Howie. I'll take care of you.
Yeah. By the way, if anybody has any questions for Boomer or Satsuma, please feel free to request, and I'll definitely bring you up. And yeah, we love to have the community be a part of these. So feel free to come up and say hi, ask any questions. And then I'm going to go ahead and give out the code to the POAP right now. And then I'll try to do it one more time if I remember. Sometimes I forget. But as long as I get it in one time, we're good. So the code for the POAP is 845027. That is 845027. And you can only get those if you are a part of this live conversation, so that's just a thank you. Thank you for coming on the show, and then also thank you to the people in the audience who are listening and learning about blockchain games and just being a part of that. So we really appreciate everybody. So yeah, it's a limited edition POAP, and that's proof of attendance protocol. It's just kind of like a, hey, you were here, thank you, or hey, I was here. So yeah, there's that. And if you missed the beginning of the show, there is a tweet pinned to the top where you can get information on where to get that POAP information from. So, okay, so there is that. I freaking love what you were talking about, Boomer. I think that is so, kick-ass. Like, I absolutely love that. Like, I would, for real, love to see, like, some of my favorite NFT projects build in your metaverse and create their own games and have our characters be able to go, like, you know, go into the Goats metaverse, and like, that is just so cool. Like, when you take a step back and you really like think how incredible that is and how cool that is, like, I think everybody should be excited for that. And so I know it's, you know, probably like a little bit down the road, but like once everything is like in full swing and implemented, like, yeah, it's going to be a really, really, really big deal. So I'm, yeah, definitely gung-ho for that.
Really quick, like, that component's going to come relatively quick after we release the game generator itself.
Okay.
One of the bigger, more ambitious parts to that is being able to co-create with others. So imagine like two of your favorite communities co-creating a space together, and being able to monetize that together and market that together. So, you know, we've seen different communities in the Web3 space already partner up to run poker nights and other type of gaming events, or in, you know, IRL events where they're you know, they're doing it to get more people in the same place, to share costs, and to, you know, rent out a bar at NFT NYC or something like that. Well, we're taking that same concept and allowing them to co-build together, co-monetize together, and run games together. There'll obviously be tournaments and all sorts of things that we'll be hosting with game nights and things like that from an LFG perspective. But we're really excited to see how we can kind of keep pushing that forward. And I think the easiest thing for us is, you know, as we bring on partner projects, and if there's any projects out there listening, like, we'd love to chat, you know, but reading the wallets and saying, hey, you know, we're allowing, you know, any creator on the platform to basically say like a giant if-then statement, right? If you're an alien boy, then this happens in my game. It doesn't mean it happens in every game. It won't happen in an LFG game, but it's that creator's style, which really then can take gameplay in much different, unique things. So we could all have the same assets. We could all be creating the same type of game, but we're going to create very, very different rules and mechanics and gameplay, and you won't have to know how to code, and you won't need to know how to use Maya or Blender to create those assets. Like, this is the power of UGC, and that's the part that we're really excited about.
Hell yeah, that's huge. I actually tried to learn Blender, and it was hard. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. All of a sudden, my little triangles were everywhere, and it did not look great. So I appreciate the user usability that comes with what you're building. Um, for the partnerships, so on your pin tweet, you've got the goats and basically like what has been built for them. And then I saw in your Discord that you also have a project called Alien Boy. You said that projects are able to kind of like contact you guys. So is there an application process that projects will have to go through? Will you be like picking and choosing projects, or what will that look like?
Yeah, so it's a bit different. We can be very flexible because we are creating something that literally anyone can use. My 8-year-old, like, I want him to be able to go through and build a game himself. Now, his game is probably going to look like crap compared to everyone else's. That is obviously he's older, he's younger, and he doesn't have that experience yet. But it needs to be that intuitive that he could be able to do that. So for partnerships, like, if someone's just interested in wanting to build for their community, they can do so without ever contacting us, right? Like, that's the beauty of this system that we're trying to build. Those that want more enhanced presence, like, they want us to do what we did for the goats, to be able to come in and to spend, our art team's time concepting out 3D modeling, rigging. We're happy to do that work, and partner in that way. Some of the simple things that we're looking at doing, and Danielle would probably kill me if I forgot to mention, but we have our game reservation system, and if the communities that want to join us, want to help us continue to spread the news of LFG, and to get people to register and to try out our games, we can give codes to those people, and when they hit a certain level of people who are confirmed users, and that have signed up for a free gamer tag. Again, everything's free. We are happy to look at expanding out to doing certain little traits or certain little things to incorporate their brand as kind of our way to say thank you for supporting us in a non-financial way. So it doesn't always have to mean money. When people talk about partnerships, I think that's what they usually mean, but that isn't what we mean here. Like I said, though, again, it could just be come play our game and build something for your community and just share that and invite them in. But there's obviously a lot of other ways that we can work with communities as we're getting closer to the official launch at the end of April.
Yeah, definitely. Because the more people that are building on your platform, the more people know about it. So it's really better for everyone. So definitely. Let me see. We have a little bit of time left. I have on my questions that I had for you guys. I don't want people to miss out on like how they can get involved. So can you just kind of go through how they can get involved and how they can play your tower defense game right now, something like a gamer tag and all of that?
Of course. So you can go to LifeForce.games. In the right as you scroll just a very little bit, you'll see it says reserve your gamer tag. You'll be prompted to put in an email and select your gamer tag. We will then email you confirmation that you put in the right email and that's the gamer tag that you want. You'll then get an email with a download link so you can participate in the pre-alpha in our first test of the tower defense game. LifeForce Games is a speaker on here. You can click that, follow, and head over to our Discord where you can ask questions. There's also a download link in there. If for some reason the email gets stuck, every once in a while someone has an account that it just doesn't get pushed through. So that's kind of the lowest, easy friction way to play the game. And then in terms of partnership, feel free to reach out to the LFG Twitter and talk about and ask any questions if you have anything that you'd like to discuss there on the partnership route.
And when you're choosing your gamer tag, there's FOMO, sus, and resist. Is there any, are you choosing an allegiance or an alliance when you're doing that? Is there any varying factor on choosing one?
Yeah, so we actually had something that we were going to roll out right around this pre-alpha. But to be honest, we weren't happy the way that it was looking. And so we've paused that. We're still going to have something coming with this, but what we had originally planned, it just wasn't up to our standard as we were getting closer to the pre-alpha. So right now, there's like nothing that is affected by anything on that decision. So feel free to choose whatever you'd like.
Okay, cool. I was like, I don't know which one I'm going to choose. Well, actually, I mean, I already did it, but I remember when I was creating my gamer tag, I was like, what does this mean? So
yeah, so we got a lot of questions too, and we were going to roll something out, but it just wasn't up to our standard. And so we're totally fine, like how we talk about, if there's positives and negatives or wins and losses, like this one we're chalking up to an L. We wanted to run something and it wouldn't jive that well with what we were wanting to produce. So we're pausing that piece. We would just want people to jump in to the pre-alpha and give us feedback. There's a ticketing system in the Discord. All good and bad things. Tell us what you liked. Tell us what you didn't like. Brownie points if you tell us what you didn't like, and maybe a way to fix that or recommendation, just so we can kind of get more of the mindset of like why you didn't like something. But so far, positive feedback has come in, and we're really excited. And there's been a lot of people trying it, so a lot of gamer tags have been reserved. Yeah, it's exciting.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. Let me say the POAP code one more time for you guys if you haven't signed it yet. The POAP code is 845027. That's 845027. I hope that you guys really enjoy that. And yeah, definitely join their Discord. Obviously you guys all know that Discord is a great way to keep up with games, but also to be a part of the community and just stay up to date with everything. So before we go, if anybody has any questions from the audience, like I said before, feel free to request speaker and we'll definitely get you up if you're curious on anything. And Satsuma and Boomer, is there anything that we didn't go over today that you wanted to talk about?
I think we touched on all the good stuff. The main thing is for people to jump in, try out Spark Defense, try out our pre-alpha, which they can either find the link to that in our Discord, or as Boomer mentioned, you can go to LifeForce.Games and enter your reservation tag. And we're always happy to talk to anybody who's interested in partnering, however that might look.
And if you decide to try the game out and you end up hitting victory, you'll notice that there's like a victory code that's going to be tied to your account. But you should probably screenshot that and probably tag Join LifeForce on Twitter. There may or may not be something that Danielle's cooking up. So just tossing it out that if you actually end up having victory, it might be worthwhile to tag at Join LifeForce on Twitter.
Ooh, awesome. So if I get really good at it, I make it a little, what did you call it?
All I said was, and it doesn't depend on score. It's just, can you actually hit victory?
Victory, there we
go. You might want to, you just might want to, if you can win, you see the victory screen, you might want to take a screenshot. I'm just saying there might be a reason, I don't know.
Okay, so if I get really good and I hit victory, take a screenshot, got it. All right, well, you guys, I really appreciate you coming on and talking with me and letting everybody know more about LifeForce Games. I am excited for, everything that you're building, and I appreciate the transparency and the thoughtfulness and, even that you're building in Web3, that's always a big plus in my book, obviously. So, yeah, thank you guys a lot for coming on. I appreciate it. And you guys, we do this every single Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I've always got either a game, a project, we have guilds on. So Anybody that's really in like the Web3 gaming ecosystem, I, want to talk to them and see what they've got going on. And, everybody work together. And, the more that we work together, the greater we'll be. I know it sounds really cliche, but the space is really positive. So, yeah, I think it ended. I think the stream just ended abruptly. I wasn't done, but oh well. All right, well, thanks for coming on, listening, and watching the live stream, everybody on my Twitch. I appreciate you as well. Have a wonderful night. Bye.